Well, hi everyone, and let's talk about the assignments that we have for 475 in week 2. I'm going to go over your team activity, and then I'm going to go over your individual assignment with you. So if you remember this class, we're doing team activities, and the weeks that we have team activities, you will not have a discussion, but you will be meeting virtually in your teams. I have set up team rooms for you in Blackboard Collaborate. Of course, you can use any tool you prefer. I have set up teams that are about 4 to 7 classmates. Now, these are the same. These are your discussion groups. They're going to be the same groups that you have your discussions in, the same team. So it's not like you're mixing up teams. So this should keep it a little bit easier for you. This activity, I cannot stress enough, this activity is to really help give you experience as to working in a virtual team. Depending on the organization you go to work for or you currently work for, the ability to work in teams is critical, but more importantly, the ability to be able to work in virtual teams across time zones, teams that are not co-located in the same building. It's so important to be able to understand how to use virtual tools to be able to manage those team expectations. So that's really what this is all about. I believe in a previous recording, I suggested that you start pulling together the team by putting a discussion, by somebody posting a discussion out in the team room just to kind of kick things off, get things moving in the right direction, decide what time you want to meet, how you want to meet, and so that you can get the meeting all set up and that you can make this happen. So this is a really important skill, and I hope that you enjoy the times when you're going to have to do this. Week 2, 4, 6, and 8, I believe, are those opportunities. And again, it's such a critical job skill. So for this particular team activity, you're going to meet and discuss 2 issues. The first thing that you're going to discuss is how you're going to work together as a virtual team. Okay, so let's get that worked through. And then the second thing is that you want to discuss the impact of the project updates on your project and your project management plans. So you are going to complete a template that is going to have some questions in it. All right, so the first thing you want to do is you want to choose somebody should step up, or you should choose somebody to be your project manager for this week 2 team activity. You're going to need the same thing in week 4, week 6, and week 8. Somebody needs to step up and act as the project manager. Now that role, of course, will be coordinating and pulling things all together, and then submitting the document on behalf of the entire team, the template. Okay, so there are meeting minutes that are located in the assignment in a template, and you're going to open that up and you're going to complete that after your team has met. The first thing you're going to do is discuss various options for meeting as a virtual team. What are the advantages and disadvantages of each of those options? Decide on a day of the week, a time of the day, and a method that you think is going to best support the project team's needs. And then put that information in the team meeting location on the template. Fill out the template, put that in there. Then you're going to discuss and resolve some of the following questions. And I want you guys to be specific about this and add this information to the template. Discuss options for resource leveling. What approaches did each of you take or intend to take to level those resources? Now, back in week 1 of 475, we were leveling resources. So what did you do? How did you do it? And how successful was it? What else? Did you have to use multiple techniques? And so share with the group how you leveled. And here is a great opportunity to get some advice from others, what they did and what worked for them. Okay. Be prepared to share your work breakdown structure in advance of the meeting in the team room within Canvas. Sometimes that's a really good idea. Get that discussion and say, hey, here's my WBS. This was what I did before. This is what I did after I leveled resources. And then review the skills of the team members assigned activities. Are there any new skills that are needed? Are there any skill gaps to address? Now, that was another thing that we did last week. We were talking about skill gaps in terms of what are the big skills that we may or may not have specifically within the organization, and if we don't have them, how are we going to manage that? So you're going to fill out the team meeting minutes template and then submit that. One person needs to submit that, and that needs to be submitted on Saturday. So you folks need to get that meeting done week 2 and get all of this wrapped up, because that is due Saturday. Just a heads up, Saturday, not Sunday. Okay. So now your individual assignment is due on Sunday. And this is, let's talk about the project update. And it's kind of a big one. Pat, your boss, has announced her resignation. She's going to be leaving the organization to pursue other opportunities, and no one has been named as a successor yet. They are going to have a big search to see if they can find someone appropriate. So they most likely will be hiring outside of the organization rather than promoting from within. Pat has been a really valuable resource because she's been through the black tie gala a number of times, so she knows the ups and the downs. So losing Pat is going to be a big loss for this event. So did anybody see this one coming? All right, so this week's assignment, I hope you find, will be a little bit easier, a little bit of a break for you. You're going to be discussing managing stakeholder expectation and project conflicts. Now, we are not doing a formal stakeholder management plan or a formal relationship management plan like we would normally do on a project. We're not going to be doing that in this particular project. But I have provided a template from Project Management Docs, one of my favorite places to go for templates. Project Management Docs has the best templates because their templates are very professionally done, and they are full of instructional text to tell you how to complete the template, what should go in what spot. So I highly recommend Project Management Docs to go out and get really good templates for project management activities. I have included in the course project module project templates a relationship management document from Project Management Docs, and I encourage you to go out and look at it. Even though you're not going to be doing one, I encourage you to go out and look and see what one looks like, what a good relationship management plan addresses. But for this assignment, you're going to provide a brief overview on how you're going to manage stakeholder expectations and resolve conflicts. Now, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to update your project documentation, and that includes your Microsoft project file, to reflect Pat's departure from the project. At this point, it's okay to put in TBD, to be determined, is the role, or you could use an appropriate role. Whatever her title was, manager of, I believe it was manager of donor relations. So you can, rather than have Pat's name, you can have that role designated throughout your project documentation. This is a really good example of when things change in a project and what do you have to go back and touch. Right? We've been working on a lot of documents. We've been having people's names in a lot of different places. What are you going to have to go back and touch to fix, to resolve that? Now, and that's another good reason for using roles rather than individual names, but that's okay. Live and learn, right? That's a lessons learned on project management. But what you are going to be doing this week, you're going to be going back and touching those documents, removing Pat's name and putting in an appropriate designator. You're also going to prepare a quick Microsoft Word document that addresses the following. You're going to answer these 3 questions. First, I want you to identify what you will do to manage and control stakeholder engagement on this project. I want you to identify what you believe to be the current level of stakeholder satisfaction. Now, here's the thing, and I want to really stress this. Always, always, always justify your responses. Don't just say, this is what I think is the level of satisfaction. Why? Tell me why. What leads you to believe that? Provide evidence to support your assertion. Justify your response. Your managers are going to want to know why you believe the way you believe. What is it that leads you to that conclusion? Always, always, always get used to providing support for your assertions and justifying your responses. Okay? Identify any issues that you feel might require negotiation and determine the style you would use to handle the conflict and your expectations at each step of the negotiation process. Really, this shouldn't be a terribly difficult assignment. I'm not looking for a ton of depth here, but I definitely want you to give some thought to this, and I absolutely want you to justify your responses. You're going to submit a Microsoft Word document. Okay, so don't forget you have your virtual team assignment that's due on Saturday. You have a quiz due on Sunday. And rubrics. I am remiss in getting all of the rubrics ready for this class. They are on their way, so stay tuned for rubrics. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. You guys know how to get a hold of me. Email, Skype, call. Enjoy the class, and don't hesitate to ask if you have questions. Take care.